I'm supposed to be in Bali right now, but the flight has been postponed. So I've come to meet my sister and we are heading in completely the opposite direction, and we're heading to Cancun.
The plan had changed, the destination had changed, but at that point it was just a case of getting through security. All I wanted to do was get some breakfast and get on the plane. I don't actually mind airports once I'm through security. I really like the ritual of getting breakfast, buying snacks, and just making sure that you've got everything you need before a long flight. It was about a 10-hour flight, I think. I always have this idea that I'm going to edit, play Zelda, maybe get some vlogs done. I just couldn't settle into any of it.
One thing that I didn't realise, we're actually flying daytime to daytime, but halfway through the flight, they tint all the windows and make it look like it's nighttime outside.
Even from the aisle seat, I could see the blue of the coastline. The luggage was actually quite quick. Customs took a little bit longer because they were properly going through everybody's suitcases. So yeah, make sure you don't bring anything dodgy. Once we checked in, we freshened up and went to get some food. Well, that was the plan anyway, to get some food and then maybe one drink and then head to bed. But one drink turned into a few.
When we arrived kind of mid-afternoon, and we just started joining in with the party and drinking, and then ended up in the nightclub. And I feel like we got it out of our system on the very first night, and on top of that, managed to reset our jet lag a little bit because we stayed up roughly about 24 hours in total.
We'd arrived, but I still hadn't really worked out what kind of place Cancun was. The next few days weren't really about doing loads. They were more about recovering from the travel day and then also trying to figure out what kind of place we'd actually arrived in.
We've changed from a 3-week break into a 1-week break. We're going to spend some time on the beach and some time around the pool. Later on in the week, we're going to see Chichén Itzá. So I expect it to be a little bit like Tomb Raider or Indiana Jones. And then we're going to visit Isla Mujeres. One thing I forgot to mention is that it's spring break. This is the third time we've come to Mexico when it's been spring break, and I don't know how we always time it like this. If you want a party, come to Cancun. If you want more chill vibe, then head to Riviera Maya.
We moved away from the pool and ended up finding a quiet side of the hotel. That's one thing that I did like. If you want the party side, it's there. But also, if you want a more relaxed day, you can just move around to one of the quieter pools, or you can go down to the beach.
I've been waking up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock every single day because I wanted to catch the sunrise, but I feel like this was such a wise decision because it feels like I'm less affected by the jet lag and I've made the most of the days.
The other thing that you notice when you're up that early is how much work goes into making the beach look clean. I'd actually seen online that the seaweed was quite bad along the coast. In the resort it looked pretty clear because the staff were already out clearing it before most people were awake. Food-wise, the buffet was usually the easiest option. The restaurants were first come, first served, so you turn up, get a buzzer, and wait until your table's ready. Food was fine, but very all-inclusive. It looked better than it tasted most of the time. Also, make sure you're wearing sleeves for the dinner. I found that out the awkward way. The hotel, they had different parties almost every night.
They have white party, pink party, neon party, and jungle party.
You could see people had come clearly prepared, but we didn't. After a few days, we pretty much worked the resort out and ended up booking the day that I was properly looking forward to.
Tired. I woke up at 4:15. We have been picked up at 5:10 and heading to Chichén Itzá. I don't really fully know what the day entails, but I guess we'll find out. Let's go and catch the coach before it's too late and they leave us.
The coach picked us up just before 5 and then we made a few more stops before heading out towards Chichén Itzá. It's about 3 hours from Cancun. This is definitely not a casual little morning trip. Breakfast was included on the coach, which I didn't expect. The tour guide was absolutely brilliant. He knew when to talk, he knew when to leave everybody alone and when everybody needed to go back to sleep. Tour that we booked got us in early before the bigger crowds arrived and it made such a difference. There was only a few groups there when we got there and even the vendors were still setting up.
I honestly thought, what do we do after we've seen the temple? I didn't expect it to be a full complex of different buildings.
I think that was probably the biggest surprise for me because in my head Chichén Itzá was just a pyramid, but once you're in there you realise that it's a whole city. The tour started at the ball court, which is massive, and our guide explained how the game was tied to ritual, to status and to sacrifice. Then you get to El Castillo, which is the main pyramid, or temple, depending on how you want to say it. It works like a calendar, and around the equinox, these shadows create this effect of a serpent moving down the side. So you can also hear people clapping at the front, which it might seem strange at first, but it's because the echo comes back with this sharp bird-like sound. Then you get to El Caracol, which is the observatory, where they studied the movement of the sun, Venus and the stars. This is a bit that I always find fascinating. Like, it's crazy how precise and advanced these places were.
I love places like this with all the history and finding out how advanced it all was. I need to come and see these ruins and see how people used to live here. One thing I didn't expect was the amount of temples that are here. The tour guide did say on the way in that it's like a city, and it really is like a city. I might have made a little mistake here because I've got to be back at the coach in 15 minutes and I didn't realise that I've got to walk all the way back round.
By the time we were leaving, the place was really filling up. So the early start, even though it was painful, it was definitely the right decision. After the ruins, the tour took us to Tsukán Cenote. It was really nice because the whole tone of the day changed. Before you go in, you have to do this blessing with smoke, and you're asked to touch this tree of life out of respect before entering the cenote. And even though I wasn't expecting it, it does make it feel more like it's just a swimming stop. Before swimming, you need to make sure that you take a shower and that you wear a life jacket. And also there's lockers as well, so take a little cash because they might charge separately for these. Once you're inside, it looks exactly how you might imagine it. So there's dark stones, there's bright blue water and light coming through from above, exactly like something out of a film. At first I wasn't sure whether to get in, I'm not going to lie, but I'm glad that we did. It was cold at first, and then it's fresh once you get over the shock. After that we had some food and then headed back to the coach once everybody was done. I think because of the early start and the heat and walking around the ruins, especially after swimming and then eating, it catches up with you. We made it back, grabbed some dinner, and then that was pretty much it really. We showered and then headed to bed. Then came Isla Mujeres, which was not what I expected. I thought Isla Mujeres would be the easy day. Just get the bus, take the ferry across, spend the day on the island, hire a golf buggy and see a few beaches. But this day ended up being the day that surprised me the most, and not always in a good way. Getting there, it should be fairly simple. You take the bus down to Playa Tortugas, then get the ferry across to the island. But the first lesson of the day was to slow down whenever money changes hands. We ended up paying more than the price printed on the ferry ticket because we thought it included transport to the ferry port, and it didn't. He basically walked us to the bus stop, and then on the bus we paid in dollars and we got our change back in pesos, and it didn't add up properly. None of it was huge amounts of money, but it set the tone. Once we got to the ferry, that part was straightforward enough. The crossing takes about 15 to 20 minutes and then you're on Isla Mujeres.
I expect it to be like when you go to the Thai islands, it's all green and tropical. And that's how I expected this island to be on arrival, and it's just not like that at all.
Arriving by ferry, it drops you straight into the busiest part of the island. So your first impression is crowds, taxis, shops, golf buggies, and people trying to sell you something.
Do not get the golf carts straight out of the ferry terminal. If you come out of the terminal and turn left, there's an orange building called Bahia.
This was one of the best tips we found before going. Bahia was much cheaper in price and we paid around $68 for the day, including tax. Other people that we spoke to paid a lot more. We'd already planned to hire a buggy because it's the easiest way to see the island properly. I think in my head I imagined sandy little roads and golf buggies everywhere, but no. You pull straight out onto proper roads with cars, motorbikes, taxis and everybody else. Honestly, it's easy once you get going, but you are thrown straight into it. Still, if you want to do more than just stay near the ferry port or the first beach, the buggy is probably the best way to see the island.
As we were heading to South Point, along the way we noticed that there was loads of golf buggies outside one of the clubs. We thought we'd check it out, and I'm so glad that we did. Your idea of what the island should have been like, island paradise, it was exactly how you imagined. The beach was really tropical. We ended up having tacos when we went in there, and I think it was the first time we had authentic tacos and mojitos since we've been in Mexico.
This was more like what I had in my head, right? White sand, blue water, palm trees, mojitos, you know, that kind of quiet tropical beach vibes. It was a complete contrast to arriving at the port. It didn't feel like the busy built-up island anymore. It actually felt more like the place that we were coming to. From here we carried on to Punta Sur, or South Point. This is where you can see the cliffs and some of the sea life sculptures from outside, but if you want to go properly into the park, you have to pay for it. We didn't bother going in, but there is a free pitch frame on the cliff edge where you can still get that photo looking out over the coast. Then further along the road, heading back towards North Point, there's similar sea life sculptures that look out over the ocean where you can stop and get photos for free. Playa Norte. It's the beach that Isla Mujeres is famous for. It's often ranked as one of the best beaches in the world. I kind of went there with high expectations, I'm not going to lie. Don't get me wrong, the water is beautiful, I'm not denying that, but it was busy, it was expensive, and I just didn't think it was that relaxing beach moment that I thought it would be.
I think you have to make a decision whether you're going to do a beach day or whether you're going to tour the island. For us, we wanted to see the island.
We needed something proper to eat, so we ended up walking away from the busy beach area and found a more relaxed place called Coco in Lima. It felt a bit more local, and the waiter was lovely and the food was delicious. It was still North Beach prices, but it was nice to slow down for a bit and also have lunch facing the sea. We returned the buggy early because I didn't want to get extra charges, but we still missed the ferry. We ended up walking through all the main shopping streets, and you know, I'm glad that we did because it meant we got to see another side of the island.
A lot of people that you walk past will say, "Hey, I know you from Rio." They spot your wristband. So the thing to do is ask them, which Rio?
Even the last quick drink came with one more price check. The menu said one thing and the price that we were given was something else. So anyway, by that point we'd learned, check the menu before the bill arrives. The ferry back was easy enough and with a bit of unexpected entertainment on board. One thing to know is that the return route, it doesn't drop you off exactly where you left from, so make sure you ask for Coco Bongo and then you just walk through the commercial area from there.
My biggest kind of disappointment really is Isla Mujeres. It's so built up and it's so scammy. We managed to recover that trip anyway, and we found a little oasis. Doing the golf buggy around the island is well worth doing as well.
After Isla Mujeres, I now had a much clearer idea of what Cancun was. So before we leave, I just want to give my honest final thoughts.
Would I come back? Probably not. I really want to see Cancun because I've been to other parts of Mexico, but I don't think I will come back here again. I've seen it now. So the beaches are beautiful and the weather and the colour of the sea, but it's so built up and commercial. It's just not for me. I'd like to see more of Mexico, more authentic, real Mexico. I'm not going to say I haven't enjoyed it because I have enjoyed it, but I probably won't come back.
So this wasn't the trip that was originally planned, but I'm glad that I finally got to see Cancun for myself. And Hong Kong, Bali and Singapore is still on the cards, so keep an eye out for that one.
Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully there's some interesting bits in it. If you did, then don't forget to give it a like and do all those lovely things that YouTube likes to help channels like mine grow. Subscribe, leave a comment and all that. Actually, leave a comment and tell me where else I should go and visit, and I can give you the real deal. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.